Could the US beat Europe and China together? Imagine America wakes up to its worst geopolitical nightmare. Not a Chinese invasion, not a Russian surprise attack, not a terrorist strike. Something much worse. Europe stops following Washington. At first, it looks like another political argument. Trade tariffs, angry speeches, broken promises, military threats. One side saying, "We don't need you." The other side finally saying, "Fine." Then China sees the opening. Beijing does not offer Europe friendship. It offers something much more useful, a deal. Cheap goods, industrial cooperation, access to markets, shared technology, new trade routes, and one simple message: you do not have to live under American pressure anymore. And suddenly, the United States is not facing one rival. It is facing the richest alliance on Earth, turning into the biggest anti-American bloc in modern history. So the obvious question is, could America beat Europe and China together? At first, this sounds like a giant scoreboard. America has the world's most powerful military, the biggest defense budget, the strongest aircraft carrier force, stealth bombers, nuclear submarines, global satellites, thousands of aircraft, and decades of experience fighting wars far from home. China has something different: the world's largest navy by ship count, a gigantic missile force, a massive manufacturing base, huge shipyards, a growing air force, and one huge advantage: it does not need to cross the world to fight in Asia. Then Europe enters the room. Europe adds advanced fighter jets, submarines, drones, air defenses, satellites, cyber power, missile technology, and some of the most developed industries on Earth. And if Britain and France are included, Europe also adds nuclear weapons. So on paper, this looks terrifying. America alone on one side, Europe and China on the other. More people, more factories, more shipyards, more markets, more ports, more economic weight. If this were just a math problem, America would be in serious trouble. But wars are not won by spreadsheets. And America is not just a country with weapons. America is a military system. For decades, the United States built the ability to fight almost anywhere on Earth. It can move troops across oceans, refuel aircraft in the sky, launch missiles from submarines, send carrier groups across the planet, and coordinate huge operations from thousands of kilometers away. But there is one problem. Even a superpower needs somewhere to land. Aircraft need airbases, ships need ports, soldiers need fuel, missiles need storage, tanks need spare parts, wounded troops need hospitals, commanders need communication hubs, and supply chains need friendly territory. For decades, Europe helped provide that territory. Germany, Italy, Spain, Britain, Greece, Poland, Romania, the Netherlands, Norway, Belgium, airfields, ports, depots, radar stations, repair facilities, command centers, hospitals, roads, railways, fuel lines. Europe was not just America's ally. Europe was America's launchpad. And in this scenario, Europe pulls the plug. No Ramstein. No easy access to European airspace. No NATO highway into the Middle East. No friendly ports in the Mediterranean. No simple route into Africa. No safe rear area close to Russia. No European logistics network holding the system together. That does not destroy the US military, but it makes everything harder. Much harder. Now America has to operate from farther away, from whatever allies still stay loyal. Every flight gets longer. Every ship needs more fuel. Every repair takes more planning. Every missile fired is harder to replace near the front. Every lost aircraft matters more. Every damaged ship becomes a problem. China plays the long game, because China does not need to invade America to win. It only needs to make the Pacific too expensive for America to control. Near Taiwan, the South China Sea, China fights under its own missile umbrella. Its aircraft can launch from land. Its damaged vessels can go back to Chinese shipyards. Its drones, missiles, and spare parts come from factories much closer to the battlefield. China is building something closer to a factory with weapons attached. If America sinks ships, China tries to replace them. If America fires missiles, China tries to outproduce them. That is the nightmare. Now add Europe. Europe does not even need to send a giant invasion force across the Atlantic. European ports close to US warships, European airspace closes to US aircraft. European companies stop supplying American defense chains. European intelligence cooperation ends. European governments stop supporting American sanctions. European markets turn toward China. European diplomats start voting against Washington. Suddenly America is not just fighting China. It is fighting distance. It is fighting isolation. And the map is usually America's greatest weapon, because American power works best when the world is full of friendly places to land. But in this world, the friendly places disappear. So could Europe and China invade the United States? Probably not. The United States is huge, heavily armed, protected by oceans, and still has nuclear weapons, submarines, bombers, and a massive domestic industry. America would not collapse because Europe and China have more ships on paper. But that is not the real question. The real question is whether America could still dominate the world. And that answer is much darker. Without Europe, the US loses its main Western platform. Against China, the US faces its strongest industrial rival. In a short war, America might still win battles. Its submarines would be terrifying. Its carriers would still matter. Its bombers could still strike from far away. Its satellites, cyber systems, and command networks would still be among the best in the world. But in a long war, the story changes. Because long wars are not won by the coolest weapons. They are won by fuel, factories, ports, repairs, shipping, ammunition, patience, and geography. And in that kind of war, Europe and China together become a different kind of enemy. Not one army, not one navy. China pressures the Pacific. Europe closes the Western door. America has to protect trade routes, rebuild alliances, defend bases, replace ships, manage public anger, and keep the dollar-centered world order from cracking. Every day the war continues. The scoreboard matters less. The map matters more. And that is the twist. The United States might still have the strongest military on Earth, but the strongest military on Earth can still run out of places to stand. So who wins? If the war becomes long, industrial, economic, and global, Europe and China do not need to conquer America. They only need to prove that America can no longer command the world alone. And that might be the real defeat. Not the White House falling. Just one quiet moment when Washington gives an order, and the world stops listening.